All right, so this question says that what does the word this refer to? In order to answer these questions, we need to look at the sentence which contains the term, and we need to look at the sentence which is given before the sentence, right? Now, before the sentence, we have a very lengthy sentence here, and we see that guidelines for managing incidental lumas, which are mostly non-existent for many organs. This is a side comment that they have given, that the guidelines which are there for many incidental which are actually not there for many of the organs. That means for managing incidental you have some guidelines. They are usually directed at radiologists. That means you're usually asking the radiologist to follow these guidelines, and these guidelines emphasize the lesion size. By lesion here, they're talking about the incidental loma, so the size, the location, and the anatomy of these incidental lumas. They emphasize, they focus on. Why? So that they can estimate the likelihood of malignancy. So how likely is it for this incidental luma to be malignant? How many chances are there? What are the odds that this is going to be cancerous, this is going to be harmful, this is going to be benign, or this is not going to be not harmful at all, right? So in order to figure that out, the guidelines which are given, they mainly focus on the lesion size, location, and anatomy. Sure. And they are usually directed at radiologists. Sure. Okay, I've got it. So based on this, now I have to answer. However, if they're using however, they're going in a different direction. They're talking about some change. Whatever this is, dash is no more quantified. Well, quantified, I know already the meaning of. Quantified is used to mention when something is measured or expressed as a number. So basically, how you express something, a quantity, or anything that you have checked or assessed, that's when I say something is more quantified, then something is better measured, something is expressed better, maybe in numbers. But they are saying this is no more quantified in most reports, then likely benign, suspicious, or highly suspicious. So these are quotes, quote and unquote. They have used this. So they're using these terms directly from the reports. So this is not a method. So the guidelines they're talking about, and then they are saying that the guidelines are usually directed at radiologists, and the guidelines usually focus on these things if we want to figure out the likelihood of malignancy. But this method is not better, definitely. This is not more measured. This does not give us better numbers in most of the reports than simply saying likely benign, simply saying suspicious, simply saying highly suspicious. So this method is not better, basically, is what they are saying, or the guidelines are not better because they're focusing on the wrong thing. So yeah, when I look at answer option A, it says the size of the lesion. But if I choose size of the lesion, it means that the size of the lesion is no more quantified in most reports. Yeah, that's the second step you do. Because if you want to figure out whether or not an answer option makes sense in the sentence, then you simply put that answer option in that sentence and you try to understand what it means. If the meaning makes sense, that's a good option to consider. If it does not make sense, which it does not make sense here, then it's not the right answer. I have another problem. The focus is not only on the lesion size. So there is no way that the term this is referring to only lesion size, because I have another answer option. It says the location of various lesions. First of all, the location term is also mentioned here. Location. Not this part. Not this part. I'm not able to unhighlight it. Let's see. Not this part, but rather this part, the location part here. Here they have mentioned the lesion size as well. There's another issue in my answer option E that talks about various lesions. They have not talked about multiple, various, very different lesions, although they have talked about incidental lumas. So I guess you could consider that. But if I have the size also here and the location also here, then how can I consider these to be, the answers if I am choosing A? I would also have to consider answer option D for that reason then. So both answer option A and answer option D are out of the picture. Let's look at B and C now. B answer option seems is going to be more tempting for a lot of people because it mentions the word quantification, which is the same as the word which is mentioned here, quantified. But understand that in this particular sentence, when I'm using the word quantified, what is happening? I am saying that quantified, the quantification of lesions is no more quantified in most reports. Does that make sense? The quantification of lesion characteristics is no more quantified in most reports. Not so much. I could go with the method. I could go with, the focus on the lesion characteristics, maybe just that part. But what I'm not happy with is the quantification of lesion characteristics because they've made that point here. So I would prefer my answer option C, which says that the likelihood of malignancy. So the likelihood of malignancy is no more quantified in most reports than likely benign. Because when I say likely benign, suspicious, or highly suspicious, that is telling me about the likelihood of malignancy. They're here comparing the method. Now listen, when we follow the guidelines which are directed at radiologists, focusing on lesion size, location, and anatomy, to identify the likelihood of malignancy, what's happening? That method or the focus of those guidelines to determine the likelihood of malignancy, that is not better. That is not a better method in most reports than us saying likely benign, suspicious, or highly suspicious, because likely benign is not so great. Suspicious and highly suspicious, not so great, because it doesn't give us a number. Quantifiers, quantity, quantified, numbers, 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 some quantity, some number. I'm not getting that. So this is why I am going to be choosing answer option C, because clearly A and D should be wrong for the same reasons. And B just does not make sense because it has been mentioned here also. By replacing it, by substituting it, it doesn't make sense. So C is going to be the correct answer.